Okay, so good morning and good afternoon to our partners and colleagues who are with us today for our Knowledge Management Fair for ARISE-APFP Challenge Fund. So as a continuation of the ARISE implementation, I am now going to present a brief summary of what's with the ARISE Recoverable Grant. So it will be the continuation of the ARISE implementation that will start on June 1, 2022. So meaning we will be opening the call for expression of interest to be the NIA for ARISE for the existing countries in Southeast Asia. So namely Laos, Cambodia, Philippines, and Vietnam. So in East, Central, and South Asia, we have Mongolia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. So the implementation is targeted to be completed for the second phase until May 2023. And we will still use the same logo as you can see on the right side of your screen. So next, for the agenda, this one, before I proceed with the presentation, here's a quick overview on what we are going to discuss today. So we will cover the ARISE objectives, principles on the design of ARISE Recoverable Grant, eligible projects and proponents, and process and workflow and timeline of activities. So for the fees, grants, and duration, and amount per commodity, we will all discuss it during our separate bilateral discussion on June 2022. So for the ARISE Recoverable Grant objective, so this one is our first agenda today. So we have identified 5 objectives. So for our first objective, this is to strengthen the capacity of our farmer organizations and its members. So meaning, under this objective, we aim to continuously focus on the production capital for the farmer members and working capital to the farmer organizations. We also aim to give them the lowest possible fees and charges that will help them increase their capacity to sustain their operations. So for our second objective, this is to expand their 4Ps engagement. So it means that we will retain the existing 4Ps and establish more 4Ps partnerships or agreements within the farmer and FO level. So this will cover both the private and public partnerships where they can secure the quality and cost of their inputs through the supplier contracts. And in terms of the price of their produce, they can also secure it through the marketing contracts. And of course, a possibility to enhance their technical skills and knowledge through the provision of technical support and assistance from their partners. So next, for our third and fourth objective, this is to improve market access of our farmers and farmer organizations. So aside from 4Ps engagement that will enable them to have a secure market, we also aim that our farmer organizations and their members have easy access to the market. So they have a broader market. And in order to do that, market standards and requirements must be achieved by our farmers. So ARISE will be their tool to invest on good methodology and high quality production inputs that will meet the requirements of the market. And for our fourth objective, this is to increase the production and income of farmers. So utilization of available resources of the farmers can increase their income. So through ARISE, they will be able to purchase production inputs in bulk, lowering the cost of production and resulting in an increase in sales and income. So for our last objective, so this one focuses mainly on KM or knowledge management. So this is our last objective. So it includes the adaptation of technology and methodology used for more effective and efficient production. So it supports both emergency and resiliency initiatives, including a simple e-commerce platform for FOs and food consumers. So also, we will continue having a regular meeting with our ARISE partners, which includes sharing of good practices and lessons learned. So now, let us proceed with the principles on the sign of the ARISE Recoverable grant. So our first principle is to maintain the value of our ARISE fund. So currently, the fund value of our ARISE is estimated at 1.8 million US dollar. And in order for us to avoid the currency risk, the RIA team conducted research on how we can avoid or at least minimize the foreign exchange risk. So this will be discussed during our bilateral meeting with each country. So furthermore, to make the fund more sustainable, we are also aiming to include the administrative costs that will be incurred during the whole operation for ARISE. So for our second principle, making the terms attractive to farmers with other financing. So as you see on the slide, we have identified two major indicators, so which are the first one is loan charges, and then the second one is expanded eligibility. So for the loan charges, it includes interest rates and service fees. So as much as possible, we aim to implement a minimal and reasonable fees to be charged to our partners. So meanwhile, for the expanded eligibility, it covers the duration of the loan, the ceiling per commodity. Again, we will all discuss this in detail during our bilateral meeting on June 2022. So for our third principle, this one refers to the responsiveness to the needs of our farmers. So our team would want to continue the implementation of ARISE by having simple requirements, meaning there will be simple procedures, less documents needed, and short processing time. So we also aim to cater to non-bankable farmers. So when you say non-bankable farmers, they do not have any existing enterprise, but they have the resources and the capacity to start or implement an enterprise. So it must also be ensured that their product that they are proposing meets the demand of the market. So for our next slide, so this one refers to the flexibility. So meaning guidelines may differ from country to country on economic and socio-cultural considerations. And then that's the reason why we will have a bilateral meeting on June 2023. So next, for the eligible projects for financing, so this is now our third agenda. So as mentioned earlier, we will continue to provide assistance on the production and working capital of the farmers and FOs. So we will focus on the capital requirements that can be converted easily into cash, such as production inputs, raw materials, etc. So this will ensure not only us, but as well as the NIA, the FOs, that repayment can be made within the approved duration. So in addition, we also aim to continue to have at least 40% of female and 20% of youth to be part of our direct and indirect beneficiaries. Now let's proceed with the next part. This is the eligible proponents. So for the eligible proponents, here are the lists that we need to consider. So first, the FO or the cooperative must be registered within the national APFP or FO4A platform. They must have at least 150 members. They must have an existing accounting system, preferably computer-based, must have a qualified finance person, must be one of the priority FOs indicated in the AFP-FO4A unified log frame, and the commodities for funding should be part of the priority value chains identified in the unified log frame. So, as you remember, last March we discussed, or we had a bilateral discussion on the priority and lead FOs as well as the priority commodities. So we will just check it on the submitted unified log frame once we have received some proposals for ARISE project. So now for the process and workflow, the first procedure or the first process is to have or to open a call for expression of interest. So AFA will issue a call for expression of interest to all NFOs in the AFP-FO4A platform. And also, now, just to correct, AFA or the RIA team will issue a call for expression of interest to all the existing ARISE partners last year. So next is NFO to submit expression of interest or the NIAs, target NIAs, and disbursement plan. Then next, AFA to conduct due diligence. So for previous ARISE NIAs, due diligence will not be conducted anymore. So next, AFA to review the level of demand based on the new program design. And then AFA shall draft a recoverable grant agreement and submit to NIA for review and comments. Okay, so yan. So next is our sixth step or process, NIA to submit a request for fund release for the release of fund. So once our recoverable grant agreement is accepted, which means it is being signed by both parties, both the RIA and the NIA, then it's time for the NIA to submit a request for the fund release, for the release of fund. So next is AFA to transfer the fund to the NIA. So once reviewed, once all documents submitted by the NIA is reviewed and approved by the RIA team, then it's time that the RIA team will do or will transfer the fund to the NIA. Next, NIA to issue a call for proposal to the NFOs and sub-NFOs. Then next, so based from the project concepts, disbursement plan, and board resolution from the proponent NFOs or sub-NFOs, NIA will conduct due diligence and review of the proposals. And then the NIA will submit the reviewed proposals to AFA or to the RIA for no objection. Okay, so next, NIA to execute a sub-recoverable grant agreement with the NFOs or sub-NFOs. So once proposal gained no objection from the RIA, then it is time to the NIA to execute a sub-recoverable grant agreement between the with the sub-NFOs or NFOs. The next, NIA to release the fund to the NFOs or sub-NFOs who will implement the project. And then next will be the repayment of sub-NFOs and NFOs once the duration is completed. And then templates and deadline of reports must be in accordance with the recoverable grant agreement. So this is the NIA must submit regular reports to AFA. So it should be in accordance with our template and with the deadline of reports. Next, our last step or procedure, NIA repayment to AFA. So NIA to repay the fund, including the charges and fees stipulated in the agreement. So next, for the activities, so here you can see on the first column, these are the activities targeted to be implemented for our second phase of ARISE. And on the second column is the timeline. So for the first activity, ARISE Recoverable Grant launching. So this is happening now, so May 2022. Next is call for expression of interest and bilateral meeting, which will be conducted on June 2022. Next, selection and contracting, June 2022. Fund release and authorization to use the fund. So this will be conducted or done on between June to July 2022. NIA project implementation and reporting. So this will be continuous starting from July 2022 up to May 2023. Then NIA collection from proponent NFOs and sub-NFOs. So it is expected all funds will be collected on June 2023, and the repayment of the NIA to AFA will be on June 2023. So again, that would be all for our ARISE next phase presentation. So thank you.